Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Welcome to What's on Tap podcast. We are gathered once again in this holy sanctuary to give our
pay homage to the
patron saint of hops, water, and yeast.
Yeah. Fuck malts, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Malts are bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not drinking any malty beers
So today we're drinking unmalted beers.
Yes. No. Today we're drinking like 2 farmhouse ales. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, because Stefan went over to Copenhagen. To get some beers. And he included a beer from a brewery that we both enjoy, but nowadays we seldom drink.
Yeah, so I was had to go over to Copenhagen for work, and I was like, hey, Martin, since I'm over here, you want me to pick up some beers for the show? And he's like, hell yeah, motherfucker. I was like, seems unnecessary, but that's how he talks.
That is verbatim how I responded.
It was. It was weird that you sent me an audio recording of that, just so you could make sure I got the inflection right. So I was there and I grabbed a bottle from the Kernel. It is a Foeder beer. It's a 5.4% ABV made with mosiac hops, and this is a bottle conditioned beer fermented in Foeder with a blend of our house mixed culture and Belgian ale yeasts. So I've been quite a fan of the Kernel for a while. And in fact, I would say they kind of are the brewery that got me more interested in IPAs. Because back in the way back, when they were putting out bottles that were coming to Sweden on the regs, they really had some of the best IPAs on the market. And they were really, this is pre double IPA, hazy IPA kind of times, the pre-days, as it were.
They, and actually Mikkeller as well, were instrumental in teaching me about hops. Because in the beginning of my beer journey, it wasn't very common for breweries to print out the hop varieties they used. But since Kernel, they name their beers after the hop varieties, and Mikkeller did a number of hop series that are single hopped. I got to learn more which hops I enjoyed more and which I enjoyed less. So I like them for that. And then the Kernel were at many Mikkeller Beer Copenhagen celebration festivals.
Yeah, and like you said, they pretty much they have just really the most simple labels, I think, on the market. Just a plain brown cardboardy kind of label with a black block font on it. And like you said, they just named their beers after the hops that they use within the beer. And it's always, like you said, really fun because you kind of start tuning in your palate to understand what hops provide what flavor profiles.
Exactly.
You don't really see that anymore, which is a shame. I wish there would be more breweries that would just once a year be like, hey, remember when Mikkeller, remember when Mikkeller put out the series where they were like, here's what happens when you use different water profiles, and here's what happens when you use different hops, and here's what happens when you use different something else. I can't remember the third thing, and it was just like a really great way to understand the chemical composition of a beer and what makes something taste one way versus another way. But Mikkeller has long put that behind them and will probably never go back there again. I can't imagine that was a moneymaker for them, but it was a lot of fun to try them, to really understand the way beers come together and what the effects are.
The Kernel is nice. I've been to their, I almost said tap room, but it's not a tap room, or it wasn't when I was there. Their location in London. So they're located in Bermondsey.
Yeah.
And they are a part of the Bermondsey Beer Mile, where you're supposed to visit like 17 locations in a row. But they don't have any tapped beers. Mm-mm. So it's just like a storage area with a lot of their bottles. And they will sell you individual bottles. But you kind of get the feeling that this isn't the main this isn't what you're supposed to do here. They humor it because they're in the middle of the beer mile and people are gonna show up.
Like they want you to buy a case and leave. They're a 6-pack, I guess, and not like individual beers.
Guess. Or you're meant to be like a big distributor coming there to buy them.
Probably, yeah.
Because it's just like this.
It's more of an open warehouse space than really a tap room or a bottle shop of some sort.
Exactly. But they were very, very friendly.
Well, that's good.
So let's try this. Let's try. Oh, it smells really good.
Oh, it smells so great. There's like some lemon. There's a little funk on it.
It's funk plus... lemon is a good one.
Yeah.
I was going to say just fruit.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be good,
Yeah.
I think. How much was it? 4.8?
5.4%.
5.4.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Definitely get those citrus notes up front.
Yep.
Pretty strong, as a matter of fact. The aftertaste is really dry, very pleasant. Hints of the citrus, but it's not overwhelming. I was hoping it'd be a little funkier in the aftertaste. But
I was also hoping for a little bit more funk because the nose promises a bit more than the flavor delivers.
There's a little tartness to it. Not too much, but I think if you aren't used to tart, like this kind of tartness, it's not like the... it's almost like a lemon juice, bitter lemon kind of tartness. Not like the sour ale kind of tartness or like a fruit sour kind of tartness, but more of a grapefruit kind of...
Blood orange.
Blood orange, kind of something like that, yeah. Which I think really... is very comforting in the beer. I quite enjoy this.
Yeah. Don't know what I think I expected more farmhouse.
I wanted a little more funk on it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of got this because I thought, this is going to have a great, maybe, funky wild ale kind of something going on here. But it's relatively muted in that way. So that's a bit of a disappointment.
But it's somewhere, for me, it's somewhere between a 375 and 4, actually. But it's in that area. I'd probably end up saying strong 375.
Yeah. With the Belgian ale yeast, I was, like I said, expecting a little bit more dynamic flavor profile. So actually, I'm going to give this a 3.5.
Yeah.
It's almost 375. Could have actually been a 4. I just think if the flavor profile was a little more dynamic, a little more pronounced, it would definitely have popped in a way. This is really pleasant and very drinkable. I could easily drink a lot of this, especially with the meal. It'd be really nice to have with it. But on its own, it's just okay.
I agree. But the next beer, that's some kind of mad monstrosity, right? So it is from Jester King, and it's called Super Ultramega Hyperforce.
Yeah.
And I mean, you probably read farmhouseale, and then you thought, this is going to be great, I'll pick this up. But then when you continue reading, with tarragon, ginger salt, and cantaloupe, that's quite a combo of ingredients.
Yeah, 3 things I can't quite say I've had in beer before. I've had cantaloupe, but that's few and far in between. I think there's a good reason why you don't have cantaloupe in beer. But probably. What was it? Ginger salt and tarragon are definitely
ginger salt, yeah, and it clocks in at 4.5% ABV. And
this is a farmhouse ale.
Yeah. The can art is pretty fun. There are these like dudes flying through space, and they're quite diverse. One of them is holding what looks like sugar cubes. I'm not sure. Maybe that's the ginger salt. I mean,
could be.
Who knows?
But yeah, Jester King is always kind of interesting. They do a lot of fun sour beers and wild ales. So I thought, I love Jester King, and a farmhouse ale from Jester King in a can sounds like a really good deal.
Exactly.
The smell is...
Yeah, sure. Cantaloupe, melony.
It's a little on the soapy side.
Yeah. It doesn't smell like farmhouse ale at all.
It does not smell like farmhouse ale, and I'm not really sure what the smells I'm getting. Like I said, mostly it smells like a fragrant soap.
Sure, yeah. Let's try it.
Why not?
Cheers.
Well, that's a puzzler right there.
A puzzler. I'm going to quote you on that.
Actually, it should be on the can. What's on that podcast? That's a puzzler right there.
That's a puzzler. So the tarragon, I keep forgetting what spice that actually is.
Dragon.
Yeah, right. So it should taste like béarnaise sauce.
Should be a little bit of licoricey kind of note to it.
I'm not getting a lot of that.
I'm not really getting any tarragon.
I think I'm getting a fight between the cantaloupe and the ginger salt.
You know what? When I first smelled it, it reminded me of a gose. Really strong, like a gose, because I was getting some of that saltiness in the nose. And that's why I kept going. It's a farmhouse, right? Because it tastes and to me smells like a gose.
Sure.
You know,
I don't really agree.
You don't agree? I think there's a salty aftertaste to it, and there's a slight sour, bitter kind of note to it.
Sour bitter, sure. There's like an astringent aftertaste, bitter one. Mm-hmm. Almost a little bit abrasive. It's not the most pleasant aftertaste.
Like I said, that's why it kind of...
Yeah.
And there's a saltiness to it in the end as well. Well, that's why I feel like it's more of a gose than a farmhouse ale. And at 4.5% ABV, it really falls into that range as well. So I guess any kind of real sour ale with salt, it makes you think.
Yeah.
Gose. But I don't really get ginger. I get some of the cantaloupe. But if I didn't know it was there, I don't think I would recognize it.
No. But it's not ginger. Ginger
salt, right. So I would expect
I have no idea what
something from that. I don't know. More than just a mildly sour beer with a slightly salty finish to it.
Agreed.
It's drinkable. It's pretty tasty. I don't dislike it. I would have drank this can on my own if I had picked it up.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't feel bad about it, especially on like a warm day. I think it would really be a real pleasant experience. However, just to drink it on its own and review it, I also am going to give this a 3.5.
And this for me is the 3.5.
Yeah.
So we are in agreement on this one.
So both of these beers are quite nice. Just a little mundane for all of the descriptors and ways that they've tried to sell this beer.
Yeah, Jester King, we know that they can make a good farmhouse ale because they have done so many times in the past. So that's why I think I'm also a bit disappointed. If a non-farmhouse, if another brewery made this, I wouldn't be so surprised.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we wrap it up here. Yeah, it's two perfectly fine beers. I think, you're still coming at 3.5 for both of them.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just, but a little higher expectations from both of these breweries.
Yeah, but exactly.
We're working in these styles, which we know that they can do a pretty good job with.
I really wanted to lift up both of these breweries.
Yeah. I mean, the Kernel does a table beer, which is a really nice, very drinkable beer. Like you said, we know that we've had mini spawn and different beers from Jester King that have been quite interesting and tasty in the past. So, they can't all be winners.
You win some, lose some.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll wrap it up here. You can find us online at What's on Tap Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you find podcasts, you can find What's on Tap. So until next time,
keep drinking, you dum-dums.